Said Shaabi from the Bahrain Freedom Movement joins us from London. Said Shaabi, when we look at these protests at this point against what has been done to Sheikh Issa Qassam, I'm curious as to whether you think there should be more done abroad, outside of Bahrain, like in the UK, whether there should be more protests perhaps held in various countries that support what is going on in Bahrain.
Well, thank you very much. I think the situation is spiraling, and I think it has reached a point of no return. Of course, the regime is emboldened by this British support mainly, not the Saudis. The Saudis are hopeless and useless, and their support is meaningless, apart from causing more havoc and more destruction and more terrorism. But this does not last long. This kind of support by the Saudis does not last long, because the Saudis themselves are under threat. For the Al Khalifa, their dependence on the West is vital. Now, why the West is still continuing to support it is because of the hypocritical nature of the Western politics. There are demonstrations in UK every day, every week at least, outside the Downing Street. There are protests also in Berlin and in other places, in Washington. The Western politicians are aware that there is a need for the regime to adapt to the modern day standards. But they are also aware that tribalism cannot really tally with the modern way of life. So they are in the middle of a problem, of a crisis. Even the Western moral crisis, they are facing moral crisis because they do not want to be on the right side of history. But however, the Bahraini people have shown once and again that they are there to stay, and that their revolution will ultimately defeat dictators and despots.
Well, what is the thinking that's going on within the regime? I mean, are they thinking that at this point there is not going to be any chances? Obviously, their actions speak louder than words. That they don't want to give a chance for any type of resolve on this. They don't want to negotiate. They don't want to have talks. Do they want to continue with this? Because it's been a number of years now, about 5 years now. And it does hurt their business aspirations from various, for example, entities that want to invest in Bahrain. Shouldn't they take a look at that and say, well, maybe it's time that we sit down and talk?
Well, they exhibit exactly the features and attributes and thinking of tyrannies that often end in the downfall. So, of course, if they had started a dialogue, for example, 5 years ago, at the beginning of the revolution, probably the situation would have taken a different course. But they have failed to do so. And they thought that the Saudi support, the troops from Saudi Arabia, from Emirates, from Jordan, from Pakistan, from America, from UK, is enough to keep them in power. And this is still, unfortunately, their thinking, which means that the situation has now reached, as I said earlier, a point of no return. I don't think that Bahrainis are in a position to negotiate with the regime. Simply, they do not want to repeat their bad experiences. And the regime itself knows that it is facing what they believe as existential threat, that their existence as a ruling tribe is under threat because the people will not tolerate it. So I think we are at a deadlock now. So what's going to happen? Either the Bahraini people will perish because of the genocidal policies of the regime, or the regime will fall down. It will take time. How the events will unfold is unclear. What is clear is that the supporters of the Al Khalifa are themselves are weakening. The Saudis are losing in Yemen, they are losing in everywhere, and internally the Saudi people will eventually wake up to the fact that they are being ruled by tyranny, by dictatorship, by tribal mentality, and that change is inevitable in Saudi Arabia. So I think those regimes will have no other path but to go. They must give way to the people. It is time. It is the era of the people, despite the unfortunate support from London and Washington.
Thank you for that, Said Shaabi from the Bahrain Freedom Movement there from London.